Hi, how are you? It's Teknikolour, and I am back today with a walkthrough video of a mansion that I built in Del Sol Valley. Let's check it out. This right here is the tiny mansion, and this was built for my friend TinySnub, and she actually moved in 2 other sim selves from my community for this build. So the people who lived here were TinySnub, Nick Simulations, and Kip did. So those 3 lived in this mansion, and the other sim selves lived in another much larger mansion here in Del Sol Valley. And my sim, Jet Wyndham, actually lived right next door. And these are all from the previous generation of my Legacy Challenge that I play over on my Twitch channel. This was actually supposed to be a speed build. I actually have all of the footage recorded from when I built this live on stream. However, the footage, something was wrong with it, and no matter what I tried, I could not get this to be a speed build. So we're going with a walkthrough instead. So unfortunately, this is a little late to be posted. But this is the tiny mansion. Something that I loved while I was building this was Tiny was very specific. This needed to be a very beautiful modern build, and it needed to be very pink. And I think we did well there. I think we did well. I also wanted to make sure that there was a garage because all of these Sims in this generation were very rich and famous. So this is their garage over here, which we'll go into again. We'll go into again. But basically, you've got these little fountains on either side of the front entrance, and you just walk right in. You just walk right in. And this, to me, is beautiful. You walk into the living room immediately, and it's very pink. It's very pink, and there is the fireplace over here. There's some fish tanks. There's a place that everyone can just come and congregate. But then over on this side, you have the kitchen. And I loved this because the living room is just kind of sunk in, but the kitchen is all up here. There is just a little door to go outside. And it's very clean. It's very, very beautiful. It's very pink. We've got the dining room over there in that front window. But then right over here around this little corner is actually like kind of like a butler's pantry. And you can see that this is where all the cooking would actually be done. Coming out of that pantry, again, you can see the formal dining room over here. But over on this side, we've got 2 doors and a stairwell. First, I'll show you the garage. And this was really fun. I decided to pick cars that looked like it would fit for each of these sim selves. And I just wanted something that was like kind of fun. And this, to me, looks like an actual functional garage, even though we don't have those in The Sims 4. And I wanted this to also be a place that they had storage. They had like a workbench. They had a treadmill in case they wanted to like work out here, because we didn't have space for it as an actual gym. I also loved this because you have this little pond down here. So there's fish swimming in this little stairwell. Through these doors is the little garden center. And this was so much fun to build because it is very, very open. It feels like it would get so much sun. There's the little like climbing greenery on the walls and the mirror, and I never planted anything in here. So this laid dormant, and they had nothing to garden. I tried though, I tried. So something that never worked is this other stairwell was also supposed to have a little pond, and you can kind of see there's like one lonely little fish just swimming around in the air. But I had this filled with water, and no matter what I did, it would just go away. Through this door over here is just a little bathroom that anyone can just come into and use. And then you could see this lovely window and this massive door. You walk through here, and this is actually the office of 2 of the sim selves. So we have Nick Simulation space over here. And I just wanted it to be very cozy. I wanted it to look very much like it would fit in with Nick's aesthetic. And I think I did a really good job. I wanted him to have this window to look out on. And of course, both of these people are streamers. So I had to make a backdrop for them. I had to make it look like they were ready to stream at any moment. Over here, we have Kiptid's side, and they have this beautiful pink/purple sort of thing. Because, you know, Tiny, very pink. Kiptid, very purple. This little backdrop here, and we've got all of their little decorations around, a little space for their drinks and stuff. They also have a cat named Andy, and he could spend some time over here. Coming out of this office and then through these doors, you can see that this is Tiny's whole suite. So I wanted this to feel very luxurious, very soothing, very rich. And you can see that there is this little foyer into her bedroom. There's a door over here, which we will go through now. And this is actually her walk-in closet and her bathroom. So you swing around this corner over here. We have this built-in shower space. We also have a tub that she can just sit here and relax and look out on this view of Del Sol Valley. We've got her little sinks over here. And then through here, we've got a little laundry space just for her and her own little toilet. There is another door on this side, and we'll come back to this, but this is her office. Over here, of course, is her actual bedroom, and we have a lovely fireplace with a television. So she has a space just for her, so she could just relax in here. Very soothing, very pink, and she just gets to enjoy all of her time here. Of course, going from very dark and very pink and very calm to something that is a little more outdoorsy. And this is her office space. And I wanted her to have actually two spaces. I don't even know why. I had a little computer for her over here, and then I realized that I still wanted to have her own little streaming space. So I guess maybe this is her streaming desk, and then this over here is just like a little work, her little relaxation desk. She just gets to go over here and enjoy. She's got a little vinyl player over there. She's got a space that she can read. She could just hang out. A lot of greenery in here, a lot of greenery. And then of course we've got her streaming space, and this is a window that looks out, but over on this side, it's a mirror. So nobody is going to disturb her. I think for now, before we get to the second floor of this build, we will exit through her own private area to the backyard. And of course, there is another way to get there off of the kitchen, but we have this space that these Simselves could just sit out here. They could relax. They could lounge in the pool. Of course, there's a hot tub over here. And there is also another space that they can toss the garbage out, and they can get into the little gardening center. But this, I wanted to be a space where these Sims could just come out and enjoy this view. Because, like, look at this. Del Sol Valley is beautiful, and I'm honestly gonna miss having my Sim live in Del Sol Valley. For now, I'm going to say that we're going to come in the kitchen, and we are going to go up this main staircase, which I wanted this to be very, very open. I wanted it to be like 2 floors. I wanted it to be very sunlit. I wanted it to be very nice and beautiful. And I think I accomplished that. Obviously, you can see here that the painted ceilings did not stick around. Don't know what happened there, but you have this little like sky walkway, this little catwalk, and I love that they have this in Big Brother, at least in the US, and I really wanted to incorporate that into this build. So this is kind of like what I decided to do. Obviously, you have the front door over here, and then down here you can look down into the living room space, but we will swing down here, taking a right off of the stairs, and this is the game room. And I thought that this was really fun. So there's a little bar over here. Obviously there's a mirrored back, and there is a little arcade spot. There's some places to sit and play games, do tarot, do some puzzles and stuff. There is a little table tennis. And of course, then we have a little spot over here to just walk out onto the balcony and enjoy these amazing views. You can see over here that there's obviously stuff on the other side of these fish tanks and these windows, which we will get to. But that is Tiny's own personal space. You can also see over here that back there is one of the mansions that I built that I'll also link down below. And my sim actually lived in this building over here. I'll also link the video for that one down below. Heading back on in, we will come all the way down here, and you can see over here that there's a laundry area for the other sims, but we're gonna take a little right down here, and we can see that there is some lovely artwork on the walls. You can see down towards the television area, and you come through this door over here and you have access to this lovely balcony. And there is space for the Sims to just entertain outdoors. They could do some grilling. There's a bar here. And then of course there are these little glass peek down into below. We've got a little dining table, and then of course you can see into Tiny's personal space over here. It is a little smaller over here, but this is just a space that she could just relax. The other Sims are not supposed to come over to this side. But this is her own little private space, and then she has access to come to the rest of the balcony. And of course, she can go downstairs into her little office area from here as well. Heading back inside, we will go down the catwalk and we will come back to this little hallway. And of course, we have this fun little laundry space. And I wanted this to be very indicative of the Sims that were living on this side. I wanted it to look like they had their own little space. They have their clothes hung up over here, and then they have some art on the walls, and then you just come down here. This first door over here on the right is Nick's simulations room, and I wanted this to look as if maybe Nick built it. So I paid a lot of attention to the stuff that he builds, and I wanted this to look like a space that he would enjoy. And we have his little entertaining space over here, because each of these sim selves, I wanted them to have their own little space that they could entertain. And of course, in here is his own personal bathroom. And then through this little walkway is his bedroom. So this is where he sleeps. It's very separated from the rest of his like little living space in his bathroom. And of course he's got some blinds, so he has some privacy from the little bar area out there. But this was his own little private space. Of course, he does have his own balcony, and he has this space away from everyone else that he could just relax. He could read a book. He could do whatever he wants out here. And he just gets to enjoy the view, and he just gets to relax out here. Back into the main second floor hallway, we can come down here and we have a lovely little bar over here. I thought that this was a very cute space to just like kind of hide a little bar in. And I did not realize that the Sims, whenever we threw a party here, they would all congregate here. They didn't really want to be in any of the other spaces. They just wanted to be right here at the bar in the hallway. There is a door over here because we needed another space in case people needed to use the restroom. So there is a second floor bathroom that anyone can use. And then of course over here, there is this stairway that in case you just drove in, you could just come right up here. And through this door is Kiptid's bedroom. And this was really fun to design. I wanted this to look very calm, very soothing, very Kiptid. So there's a lot of purples in here. There's a lot of looks that feels like their whole personality. And I just really enjoyed the way that this one turned out. And this was really fun because while I was building this, I felt a little bad. because this one's right above the garage. And Kip was in chat when I was building this on stream, and they were like, no, I want the garage fumes. I want this bedroom. This one's mine. So they were kind of adamant that this was their space. So this is their own little area. They have a lovely little bathroom over here. They're also a huge fan of Chestnut Ridge, so we had to give them that. And they've got their own little just private retreat back here. And then through here, they have their own little balcony, which of course looks out onto the front space. And they can see some of the views from over here. It's not the worst bedroom. But that, my friends, is the Tiny Mansion. And what was really, really fun about this was Tiny actually unlocked me building this for her at one of my big celebratory streams. I believe it was my anniversary from last year. And it was just really nice because she picked what this build was going to be, and she gave me some inspiration for what I should use. And it was really nice because we got to visit this. It was part of my legacy challenge. Of course, the sim selves were here as well, and it was really fun getting to build this on stream and also make it something that I really hoped that Tiny and the sim selves that she included here with her living here, it was a place that all of them felt like could be home. And Tiny, if you are watching this, thank you so much for making me do this. This was so much fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really sad that now we have moved on to our next generation, which is in Sulani, but Tiny's back. Tiny's back. So if you want to see her in our new legacy challenge, I'll drop the house tour that she is in down below. Also, Tiny is returning to streaming. I am actually in Europe right now. I'm pre-recording, and Tiny is, I believe, supposed to return to streaming, I think this Friday from when this video is posted. So I will drop her link down below. So go check her out. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future uploads, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.